Hello and welcome to The Moment here on New Reality TV. Carl Munson here, struggling with a terrible man flu. Did you know that? I mentioned it.
Yes, you had.
Okay. I do apologise for my voice.
Louisa Munson here, struggling with a man with man flu.
Oh, poor you. It's Father's Day as well here in Portugal.
Happy Father's Day. What does that mean to you?
Well, I'm just sorry I had to mention it first and foremost. What does it mean to me?
Yeah, what does it mean to you to be recognised as being a dad?
Quite honestly, the first thought I have about being a father is not doing a very good job. That is my honest first.
Honestly,
yeah, it's weird, isn't it? And that's I don't mean to elicit or anything like that. It's just that is what my first thought, and I'm doing my best. And it's very difficult under the man flu circumstances today. So
yes, and it's not just the man flu, is it? We're under attack of Storm Martino as well.
It's everything. We've got. Let's have a little bit of a banner and maybe a little bit of branding as well. Oh, there you go.
The branding.
Did you feel that something was missing from the top right-hand corner? The moment that wasn't there. It is now. There you go. And we'll have a banner too. Join us in the chat room and say hello. So if you're watching and you've been lurking and not said hello to us so far, how long have we been doing this now?
This is episode 53.
Good heavens above. Right, okay. If you haven't said hello already, what's wrong? Please say hi and let us know on this. Is it Wednesday today?
It is Wednesday the 19th.
What?
Wednesday the 19th.
2025?
Yes,
right,
in March.
Okay.
We're in March, just so you know.
It's hump day. Check in. How's your week going and where are you right now? We've had a few days off, haven't we? How's that been for you?
We've had 5 days off.
Right.
I've missed doing the show, actually, because it's a nice moment for us to check in. Now, ordinarily, we'd be checking in at midday, but the clocks have gone back in America, so we've had to wind ourselves
the hard
back.
way.
Yeah, because we went live.
How many
at the
more
wrong
time changes have they got in America?
I think that's all of them shifted now,
right,
and the next time change is for us to shift.
I have a little suggestion.
Go on.
Why don't you do it on the same day in America? Why do they do it at different?
Because they're so big. That's why.
Okay. All right.
So we're joined, talking of America, we're joined by Deb. Good morning to you both.
To you, Deb. How you doing? Great to see you too.
And that's because we've had 5 days off, isn't it? Do you want to talk about that?
What, 5 days off?
Yeah. What have we been up to?
Oh, it's been wonderful. I've had my daughter and granddaughter here over from Italy. It's been absolutely lovely. And I went to the cafe this morning on my own. And in these last few days with the daughter and granddaughter being over, we've all been up there together at times, haven't we? It's been lovely. And there I was on my own. It's very different. So I sent her a picture, missing you at the cafe.
Oh.
And she sent a message back saying, yeah, we are too. It was delicious in that little cafe. So we'll see you next time. We'll see you again soon.
But I mean, the show did carry on without us. I mean, that's the great thing. And so
show business. You just turn your back and someone fills your place.
But we have Vinny. We've actually had 2 hypnotherapists covering our show for 5 days, essentially.
Yeah.
Because the first 3 days, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of last week, we had our ongoing interview with Vinny that we did last year as part of our
eternal, though, isn't it?
Yes, I mean it's an eternal video with Vinny. I mean, we were chatting to him and we just couldn't stop the conversation because he's just somebody that I think likes to feel good as well.
Yeah, and endlessly fascinating, and interesting, and helpful to people.
Fascinating in consciousness.
And the last couple of days,
we've had Daniel, the past life regressionist. So, you know, two men who are fascinated and help people. I guess go through the workings of the unconscious mind and to sort of like deep dive into them. So it's great, isn't it, that, you know, we've got content lined up for, if we need a little bit of a break, but it was good.
And we're back now live. This is as I speak live just after 11 o'clock here in Portugal, where Storm Martino is coming in with the threat of some serious weather conditions. And my hair was done by Martino. Hair and makeup by Storm Martino. Can you see those wisps?
Yes, they look like they've you've like had somebody with a hairbrush blowing it back and up, giving you volume.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot there to push back against the climate, but
you know, when Vivian put in the comments windy, I thought maybe like she was like she'd been in Brussels or something, but she's referring to the storm.
The storm, not a personal comment there. And Bob as well. Good to see Vinny. We'll pass on that feedback. we can't thank him enough, Vinny, for the effect he's had on our lives individually
Absolutely,
as well, right?
yeah.
He's been very helpful.
He can be a little bit shy about getting. It takes a while to.
He'd hate you saying that,
but it takes him a while. Not that like shyness is a problem, because if it was, I think he would resolve that for himself. But
yes. He's modest, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a little bit modest.
Yeah.
And so we have to really kind of work on him to come on the show, and share his gifts with us. So,
all right. And we should have more days off, because Deb really enjoyed both guests.
That's great.
We changed it to earlier in March, says Deb, about the time change in your part of America, because we voted on it about a decade ago, wanting later light. Yes, right. It changes things at one end of the day or the other, doesn't it? With that. And who knows what might happen. I could see that Vinny was modest.
He's very modest.
He's magnificent.
He really is.
Right.
So we were going to talk about what's beautiful today. I think you were moved and stirred.
Yes, I do. I mean, I think it's very interesting. You know, that idea of, if you think you're enlightened, spend some time with your family.
Yeah.
I don't see my daughter very often, and it's lovely to see the granddaughter and how that resolves things. You know, the dynamics between parent and child are very interesting. And then when a grandchild comes along, there's another aspect to that. It's almost like, you know, in the Taoism, the one births the two and the two birth the many. That, you know, it isn't 1, 2, 3 linear. It goes exponential, I think, and all the possibilities and all the energies of 3 generations are very different to 2 generations. So it was very it was lovely to have that connection. And the funny thing is, she calls me Dad, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Because everyone else here calls me Dad. The granddaughter calls me Dad as well. She's Dad in like in a sort of part Yorkshire, part Italian accent.
To be fair, you know, we've got 3 small children, and so she probably
grandchildren fix everything. It's true, isn't it? It really, they are such. They don't know it, but they're such healers, aren't they? They bring such innocence and some new perspective and dimension to family dynamics. It's beautiful. Sorry, I interrupted.
No, you know, we've got like 3 young children from 6 to 13, and so she's 2.5, your granddaughter.
Yes.
And so I guess when she heard our kids calling you Dad, and then her mum calling you Dad,
there was no option.
Yeah. I did hear her go Nandad, like she was saying Granddad a couple of times, but then I think, you know, she heard Dad so many times, she was just calling you Dad. It was very, very sweet. She
is the cutest thing ever. And amazing. So that was lovely. And maybe that's why beauty and light and other such joys for human beings were on my mind. I listened on the way back from dropping them off at the airport. I listened to a podcast. It was Ian Gilchrist, who's a fascinating chap who talks about intuition and how we use our brains as human beings. I recommend him. Ian Gilchrist. I can't mute the mic from here when I cough, can I? That's bad. Anyway.
No.
Oh, yes, I can. Hold on a moment. Right, I hope that
my
helped.
mic was still active, so it still picked up. But...
Really? Well, we'll see. I will do that anyway. I don't want to cough on anybody. And yes, aren't grandchildren wonderful? And now that mine are adults, I can help them learn how to love themselves. You mentioned that, didn't you? Particularly about your granddaughter as well, I think, Deb, a few weeks ago. Isn't that lovely to hear that?
I mean, I have to say, not trying to step out of your Ian Gilchrist conversation, I found a lot of healing in my own relationship with my nan. Obviously, I'm not a grandma, although I think I've been elected as
you are an honorary.
I'm an honorary grandmother, which is interesting. But you know, the relationship that I had with my grandmother, and I say have because actually I do still feel that relationship. That relationship didn't die when she did.
Yeah.
But it was one of the most beautiful relationships. I absolutely knew that I was unconditionally loved by her.
Lovely.
In a way.
And I do too. I never met the woman, but I know that's true.
Yeah.
From how you speak about her and how you are around
there was nothing I could have done that was really wrong. Because I think with your parents are always through no fault of their own and through their own programming, you know, they are creating judgments because they're judging the world around you as unsafe and so on and so forth. And so they're always like commenting on your behavior and what you should and shouldn't do, even when you're an adult. And I know your kids are still kids, even though they're grown women.
Yeah, right.
With children of their own. And I know I'll experience that. But my grandmother, she wasn't really under those forces. You know, she saw me as a magical being and treated me as a magical being, which is really lovely.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, magic,
so special.
light,
Thanks, Nan.
beauty, truth. This is what bringing these things together, and perhaps the gift that grandchildren bring is a reminder to me that we need more of this. Possibly, we're on New Reality TV, aren't we? And we're talking about a new reality, and I think it's really important that we acknowledge that whilst so many forces in the world at the moment seem to be calling our attention to darkness and negativity, if we want something different to that, it's occurred to me that we need to build it. We can't just see the negative and say we don't want that, although that's probably quite a good start. I was so inspired last night because for some reason, joining all these things together, grandchildren, Ian Gilchrist and William Blake, because he also he delivered a lecture on William Blake, and there's something about Blake I think that is due for a comeback with William Blake. And I listened to so many versions of Jerusalem last night, and we had it, didn't we? Playing.
We sang it at my nan's funeral.
And there you go. What an incredible connection! Look, and Viv's nana was a rock as well. Was my rock? Isn't that beautiful? Somebody you could go to. And we really need that, don't we? We need that in these times, especially. I think it's always needed. But whilst there is a big focus on what's wrong with things, it's really important that we have a vision as well, as something to lead to, as well as be aware of what we want to get away from. And I'm not sure. I wanted to ask you this specific question. You know, maybe it is enough to just be aware of what we don't want. Or is it important to have a vision, and do we need to do the work to build something new? Because law of attraction would have it, wouldn't it? And, you know, is it Wu Wei, doing nothing? All you need to do is hold something in mind.
I was listening to something about Wu Wei this morning.
Were you?
Funnily enough.
Yeah.
Talking about effortless action.
Right. So
how
would that work?
You have
then?
A destination,
yes.
But you're not beating yourself
killing
up about
yourself
it.
To get to it.
Yeah. So you have an idea of what you would like to do, and you trust. So it's like going into complete trust and surrender.
Yes.
To know that life is putting all the pieces in, and that when you're working too fast and too furiously, and you're trying to control things and get things like exactly just as you want them, then there's no space for life to drop in the miracles.
Right.
And that's what I really, really liked. Okay. And I realized
that's another key word. Miracles are so important.
I didn't hear that that was me adding that word in from the context that I got this morning. But suffice to say, I realized in the last 3 years in which that I've aged quite rapidly. In those 3 years, I have been on it, haven't I, with my work? I've been afraid to take my foot off the brake.
Yes.
Off the accelerator.
Well, you've had your foot on the brake and the accelerator at the same time, I think. And
so I haven't really been in the Wu Wei.
Aroma of burning brake pad.
I've been doing the Lu Wei, not the Wu Wei.
Very good. That's going to be in the merchandise store, isn't it?
Yeah. In fact, actually, just before we continue this conversation and talking about brake fluid, I had my first go at driving in these last 5 weeks. I haven't driven for years.
That's why I was buying a replacement tyre yesterday. That's another story.
But anyway, just aside, this is something for your diaries. If you're interested, there's the New Reality TV Summit that's coming up.
Perfect.
It starts on Saturday, the 29th of March, and is also on Sunday, the 30th of March. So the whole weekend. This is in New York time. So between 10 and 7 p.m.
Are they going to sort out their clocks by then?
No. The funny thing is, for us, the summit starts at 2 p.m. on Saturday and then 3 p.m. on Sunday, because our clocks change during the summit.
Okay.
But that's not their fault. But there's at least 10 people doing a section. I'm one of them, and so we're all doing something.
Am I not?
You're the MC.
Oh, okay, excellent.
So Carl's going to get the party started, and he's going to host some like MC question times. And also, there's like 10 of us, at least 10 of us with, I'll be able to tell you more.
Open to all comers, anybody who wants to get involved.
Yeah, so we'll be talking about our own.
About building something. Yeah, we've got a really beautiful graphic, which I put onto the screen There's all the details. Right
That's
there.
my details
Right,
about
okay.
our timings.
All right, fine.
But yeah, I'll have more details to come. But there are lots of different people with different skill sets talking about how you can use a particular technique to help you. And so for me, I'm talking about how you can use astrology to to create more grace and ease in your life.
That's beautiful. And this is the practicality, the tacticality, if there is such a word, of not only having a vision, but birthing it and building it. Now, I take your point. If you get too ideological and too fixed and too attached to the outcome, we tend to bar magic and miracles, don't we? We've learned that lesson, I think, in these last few decades, that when people see a way that the world should be, and they police it very heavily, and it's a very ideological mental thing rather than the feeling is the prayer and how you would like to feel as a result. We've gone into these very ideological approaches, haven't we, which then tend to marginalize other people, and then you end up with two sides. I think we can agree, can't we, that we all want peace and love. We've all just got a funny way of going about it sometimes. But I really wanted to talk about this, the building of it, the allowing of it, if you like, rather than the building of it, and how that might happen, but also how important it is, to not just be standing against things and being critical of things and thinking we don't like things. I think it's very important at the moment for those who do have a vision of a new reality, that it is held in the heart at the very least, and that we do active, positive things to bring it into being. Thank you for that, says Deb. I've been working fast and furious for the past year, but I've put the brakes on. I've needed to slow down a bit and make sure my heart is in it. Well, that's some good braking, isn't it? You haven't been pushing down on the accelerator at the same time, by the sound of it, Deb, and giving yourself a bit of peace and freedom there.
I've been playing with some words this week, maybe for the last 3 or 4 days, but I've been using a lot of words in my inner chat. And anytime I hear myself like reverting to Lou way, I'm starting to say, oh, hang on. So the words I've been using is I accept, I allow, I receive, I trust. I can't remember the other one now. Oh, I surrender. Okay. So really, really sort of like going into the idea that my energy.
Sorry, I muted both of us there because I needed to cough.
That my energies will go only so far on their own. So, I mean, this is the ultimate in co-creation. So people talk about co-creation. The way I see it, I find it quite frustrating when I'm trying to co-create something with Carl sometimes, because
we both
have our own ways of doing things.
Right.
And yet, when you have a vague seed of an idea of what you want, and then you kind of relax with it, you are co-creating with the energy that is life. Life is working with you. And I realize, when we first, this is my first bit of evidence of this, really. When Carl and I both met, we were both on the same dating app. And because we were so specific about the people that we wanted to meet, we would not have met each other.
Ideology.
Yes. So Carl was looking for a divorcee who didn't want children, and I was looking for somebody that had never married, never had children, and who wanted children.
I'm sure I wasn't looking for a divorcee.
Okay, you were looking for somebody who didn't have children and didn't want children.
Yeah, I didn't want to add any more to the collection. I was quite happy to have paused. Yes.
And so from our selections, there's no way we would have met each other. Thankfully, life put us together anyway.
The magic and the miracle part happened, didn't it? Yes.
But if he'd come into me via this dating app, and I knew it was specifically about dating, I'd have looked at his criteria and said, "Oh no, that's not for me."
And the picture wasn't so great, was it?
What with you with a hair?
What was I doing?
I think you had a
hair, like a Monty Python
sketch
character, didn't I?
Yeah.
Probably needed a bit of coaching there. But anyway, we met through magic and miracles and not algorithms, as it turns out, which is a useful thing. But it can go to show.
It can go to show you that you could actually be en route to meeting each other, which we were. We were on the same dating app.
Yeah.
But our own Lou way and Carl way were putting in problems that the universe could see beyond.
Life's way and God's way and that's other ideas.
And that's what I see, going on sort of politically. People have got these, and religiously, people
needs to be like this.
Yes, and so everyone that is saying it has to be like this, it has to be like this, is going up against life as well. It's okay to see where you want to be and to feel into the vibration of it. But when we're shaking our fists and getting angry and getting
banging the drum,
we're not allowing for the miracle of life to show us. You never know when a miracle is going to happen to one of your leaders or several of your leaders at the same time, where all of a sudden everyone, like somebody farts and everyone bursts into laughter and they realize they're all human again or something.
Where are we? Where is this workplace?
No, but I'm, like sometimes something really human cracks open the shell of our judgments and the shell of our reality.
It's like someone
that's what we need.
It's like someone falling over in the street, isn't it?
Yeah, everyone rushes.
No one's political then, are they?
No, nobody says if you had your COVID jab or not. Everyone just goes and helps each other, which is how it should be.
That's right. Someone trips up and we go into immediacy, don't we? We go into out of the mind, into the heart. Someone needs help. And then the questions about whether they've got insurance and all that sort of stuff comes much later in the process, doesn't it? We just need to make sure people are okay first. Right.
Yes.
This is interesting. Deb, thank you. Yes, it is. I'm trying not to guilt over this. Surrendering. And this is the big challenge, isn't it? When we're up against, and this was another really important.
Oh, look, Mother Mulberry's here.
Hello.
I've missed you.
Nice to see you back here. This was reminds me of another thing I was watching for you, Deb. I wasn't watching it for you, but in relation to this comment, I've been listening to the latest Kyle Cease release. I found him really helpful. He's right up my street, Kyle Cease. And he was talking about letting go of our triggers and how the triggers are. I think the thing here, I'm trying not to guilt over this. So as I understand it, Deb, you do see the sense, the wisdom of stopping, taking your foot off the gas. But then with that comes a little voice saying, "Oh, you don't want to stop because if you stop," and that's the thing.
The triangle.
That's what Kyle's talking about. Or did we get a little flicker on the power there?
We did.
Is that the storm?
Well, it could be the storm, or is it life saying, "Yes, that's the point"?
I'll take that latter. I'll take
that's
the latter.
God talking to us. He knows.
Yeah. Keep going. Keep going. And so when that voice comes up, Kyle is suggesting you hear it. You don't have to. What did he say? Being is creating, or something like that, or being with things is all that's required. Noticing, and all roads are leading back to this, aren't they? This mindfulness, this noticing, this being, and not pushing and forcing. So when the little voice comes up to try and force you, and it is a little voice because it's from the past. It's a child, probably, isn't it? Saying, "Okay, well, we got through childhood by keeping going or by looking good and looking hardworking, and that's how we got our approval. And maybe we don't need to do that anymore." And this is what's being suggested by Kyle Cease. It makes a lot of sense to me. Is when those voices come up to say, "Oh no, you don't want to stop now because this will happen and that will happen." It's like, okay, I hear you, and you protected me and you got me this far, but this isn't working anymore. There's something not quite right about it. So I'm going to hear you. I'm going to see you. I'm going to be aware of this. And from what Carl Cease was saying, and from my own experience of this, it's not an easy thing to do, but in bearing witness to what's coming up and the triggering, and just actually, it's funny, isn't it? Because isn't it called the trigger point with the clutch and on a stick shift in a car?
Yeah.
It's the biting point.
But
if you can hold the tension of the trigger and what you need to do for your best life, something magical can happen. That's where the magic and the miracle, I think, can come in, rather than saying, "Yes, little voice, you're right, I do need to just show the world I'm working really hard," or something like that. So let's play with that. Let's see what happens when the triggers come up, and see if we can allow the trigger to be present and just being in the light dissolve, just fall into a million pieces, and it's done its job, and we can move on from that. We can say thank you, and we can move on. Surrendering to the energy, giving myself some more clarity. Exactly, that's what you're doing.
I absolutely love that second sentence, surrendering to the energy, giving myself some more clarity. What I see there, Deb, and this is something that I was learning when I was training as a hypnotherapist, and that is when we use the word try, I'm trying to, it presupposes failure. So if this is just some advice, I'm saying this really for my benefit to remind me, but anytime I hear myself saying try, it reminds me that I've got some kind of presupposition inside me that it's already going to fail because I have to try to do it because it's not
overcome something.
Yeah.
Or
and
put your foot on the gas. Go at
so
it
whenever
really
you
hard.
hear yourself saying, I'm trying, recognize that you're programming your mind to like presupposing failure.
Yeah.
So make a note of it. And, you know, I'm going to do this for the rest of the day and maybe I'll report back with all the things I'm trying. Yeah. Because when you see what comes up, you know, you're able to observe things from a third party perspective. You know, you get to see that there's like this little author that's authoring all your internal thoughts, and you're the grown up person in the party, and you get to like see what's going on because we can accept these thoughts as if, oh yeah, these really are my thoughts, but these are the thoughts of a child that was hurt or somebody that went through a difficult situation, and you're trying to there we go, I've said it, you know, we're creating a sense of anxiety in our future. We are protecting ourselves from the thing that happened in the past from happening in our future, as if that actually is going to happen, but we don't know for sure it really will. And yet we live in that constant anxiety, believing that the difficulties from the past are going to reoccur again.
Yeah.
I know I was feeling some of that with the recent family visit. I was slightly on edge because I was thinking, oh, am I going to say something that's going to blow everything up?
You go right back there.
Yes.
Wherever you left off with somebody, you tend to go back there next time you see them, right? Unless you've got a lot of presence of mind. And that's not an easy thing to do, as Ram Dass said, didn't he? Think you're enlightened, spend time with your family.
Yes.
Oh, I love eliminating words, says Mother Mulberry's Tea Club. Try will swiftly be replaced in my vocabulary. Well done. Struggle and challenges are replaced with hurdles. Yes, Mother Mulberry says.
And you can say what I'm learning or what I'm moving beyond right now, what I'm evolving past. Although, like when you say things like evolving and moving, it suggests it's an ongoing process.
There is no try.
So I think it's always worth to play with different word patterns. Like years ago, and I might have said this in another show, you know, in hypnotherapy training course with Richard Bandler and Paul, what's his name?
Paul McKenna.
Thank you. They had
Paul McKenna.
And I will make you rich. And you know, we would practice with our eyes closed, and we would walk forwards according to how motivated we felt, using particular words like I ought to, I will, I'll try, I should, I shouldn't, I must, I mustn't, I am. And we would practice loads of different things to see what created the most movement in
the sort of muscle kinetic energy in the muscles. It's so true, isn't it? It works.
And we're not taught to analyze our language or to root out those presuppositions of beliefs.
That's amazing. The kinesiology of vocabulary. Yes, I do realize that, says Deb. It is my 5-year-old self saying I don't fit in.
Bless you.
You and your 5-year-old are very welcome here, Deb. And you
everyone's 5-year-old
beautifully into this group. If your 5-year-old needs to hear that, please repeat that to your 5-year-old from us here. I'm working.
We love your 5-year-old.
Yes, your 5-year-old is very welcome here. And do people really want to hear what I have to say? I would ask you, Deb, do you really want to hear what you have to say? Because that's where the action is, I think, isn't it? It's like, you know, will it be a relief and a blessing to say it and see what happens as a result? My mentor says to remove adjectives. Shoulding on yourself, and the should, must, have to. So let's not be shoulding on ourselves.
Yes.
We've got a couple of minutes to go, haven't we?
Actually, we don't. We've got about 30 seconds.
Thank you, everybody. Wasn't quite sure where that was going. Suffice to say, useful to hold in mind what we do want, right? And see where that's not happening and perhaps let it go.
I'd love to carry on this conversation tomorrow.
Right, okay, let's do that then. Okay, because I was going to read the words of William Blake. You know,
we don't have time now.
I did this countenance divine shine forth upon our clouded hills. But, you know, our green and pleasant land. Let's not forget what our vision is, our Jerusalem, and let's build it, folks. The new reality is what we're talking about, isn't it? I do feel welcome here.
Look at the
yes,
time.
I have a lot to say. Do we have to go?
Yes, we do.